We're black rebels, searching for freedom, trying to break these chains from my mind, trying to find the king that lies inside.
John!
Yes, sir.
Yo, this is my first podcast, bro.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you for coming here and doing this.
Oh, so hold on, let me interview you for a second.
No, you can ask me all the questions you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long has it been that you've been holding this within you, that you wanted to birth this, so to speak?
It's been a slow process. So I don't think the idea really hit me until within like 9 months. Like there were just a couple of little things where I was like, you know what, maybe I could be good at talking to people and asking questions because I love having like I really enjoy good one-on-one conversations like at the bar, that kind of a thing. I love those kinds of conversations, and I'm pretty good at like asking questions, and then all the shit I put on Facebook, you know, I kind of gathered that people like watching the shit that I put on Facebook, and honestly, was like, yo, you should do a show or something like that, and I was like, huh. And then I started, like, over the past 3 years, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and I was like, you know what? Let's see what goes. Let's just see how it goes and do a podcast. So that's where it came from. You know what I mean?
Let me do a disclaimer. My mom and her Christian friends, I'm sorry for his cursing.
Yeah, it's not going to stop either. It's not going to stop.
No, I love it. I'm just playing. I'm playing, yeah.
So, Ja.
Yes, sir.
There are so many things that I do know about you that I don't think people know. Plus, I have a million questions just in general for you about a lot of just different pieces of you. So, can you just kind of tell us how you ended up in Wilmington? How did you end up in Wilmington? Yeah.
So, now, if you asking me, you're going to get one story. You ask my wife, you're going to get a different story. Because we just realized after living here 5 years that we had two different stories.
I want to hear both.
So,
yeah.
my story is... so I lived in Baltimore for 21 years, musician, teacher, activist, but I was trying to get more involved in the music, trying to now go on the road, because the money is on the road, right?
Sure.
And my wife, when I met her, she was in Bowie. I brought her to Baltimore.
In Bowie?
Yeah, Bowie, Maryland.
Right? Okay, cool.
It's so interesting. I'm like, where? Bowie? Okay, Bowie, Maryland. So she came to Baltimore, and she had no friends in Baltimore. In the area that we lived in, pretty much if you don't park your car by 4:30, you're not parking anywhere close to your house.
Okay.
So it became a thing where she was isolated, and it just wasn't cool. So so we decided, hey, where could we move that would be accommodating to your spirit and closer to your family?
Well, I'm going to make this a big, long story. Hold on. How'd y'all meet?
Okay, so... And you know, the irony of the whole thing is this. So there was a club in a bar in Baltimore, maybe called, please forgive me, it was closer to the rival of Coppin State College.
Okay.
And there was a bar, and you know, tragedy happened. A city councilman went to his friend's bar. I'm going to leave out some of the story in case his family sees this, right?
Sure.
But he went to a bar, and he had a bottle of wine, and he walked in on a robbery. And as he tried to leave, he was murdered.
Wow.
So people decided that business slowed down. People weren't going to the bar. So my wife, Donnie Bougely Smith, Donnie Bougely at the time.
Bougie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because she will not use a porta potty.
Go ahead.
She decided she was going to, with a few other people, were going to put on a show to support the brother and get people to come back to the venue. And myself and my best friend, who is no longer here, Derek Jones, we were asked to be a part of this show. And so I met her, I believe it was like December 3rd. I'm probably totally jacking this up, but like December 3rd. And met her that night. Okay. And it wasn't until, so over the course of the next year, she started emailing me and on the Facebook, like, said, how are you guys a group and you have no web presence? You don't even have a fan page. And so she started talking to us about those things. So we started following up. I started seeing her personality and was like, wow, I like her. She's funny and da-da-da. It happened a year to the day I went to go visit her at her home.
Okay.
And I am a basic person, yeah. So the fact that I was going to go to Bowie, I text I said, yo, this is the address, just in case you want some weirdo stuff.
Okay.
This is where I'm going to be, da-da-da-da-da, right? So I get down there. We got married 10 months and 4 days from that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, now from there. All right, now I know how you met. I never knew that story. So now let's hear the double story for how you ended up here.
Okay, I don't remember her story, because only my story counts.
Yeah, right.
So going on the road was always going to be an issue because she would be home by herself, kind of in isolation. So her family lived in Wilmington, North Wilmington, and at the time her sister lived in North Wilmington.
Oh, really? Okay.
Her mother lived in Pennsylvania, not that far away.
Yeah.
And so we came here, and then shortly after being here, I was still gearing up to go on the road. But that's why we got here. That's why we came here, because it would be easier for me to go on the road and for her to be closer to her family, and she wouldn't be isolated.
I didn't know. I had a different version of even that in my own head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was it, and life intervened, the universe intervened, some things happened. My best friend passing away caused a chain effect for some things to happen, which end up allowing me to become director of the youth advocate programs here in Delaware, because my best friend passed away, and he was the director in Baltimore.
Right. So the thing that I didn't know is that you were already in Wilmington before that whole thing happened?
Yeah, I was the assistant director in Baltimore and was traveling every day to Baltimore to be the assistant director, yeah.
And so he was already lined up to move to Wilmington too?
No, he'd passed away at that point.
But how was he going to end up coming up here?
He wasn't, but because he passed away, the assistant director in Baltimore became the director. When they hired assistant director, that gentleman ended up having kidney failure. I went in there to collect a check for a show that I did. My good friend Chastity said, hey, you know the assistant director position is open. I said, yeah. I'd already been an advocate for the program.
Right.
I said, I'm going to apply. I got the job. I was there for 9 months. One day, Jeff Fleischer said to me, hey, look, would you like to be the director in Delaware? I said, yeah.
Right, of course.
And so that was it. And then I started the program. And or took over the program, and
but you really restarted it. I mean, no.
Yeah. It was on its last leg. I probably had 3 months.
You did a hard reset.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so there's 3 people that I'm immediately indebted to. We'll say 4. One is Rachel Myers. One is Ty Parquette, who was already there when I got there. Mm-hmm. One is Omar Douglas, and one is Jay Street Jr., which is my first advocates that I hired and really created a foundation and expectation for what we were going to do. So thank you, brother. You're part of that foundation, that restart.
But dude, what's so crazy is like, you know, I'm sure at some point over this conversation we'll have a little more discussion about like your personal spirituality and how you see things. But like from my end, I don't have like a really clear, you know, I don't subscribe to any particular religion. I'm very agnostic, and that's just because I really don't have a sense of what really is. I don't know, you know what I mean? I know most people don't know, but like, I don't have any real clear direction. But all of the things that tell me that I'm kind of in the right direction, or that like there's the reason I know God is just because of timing. Right. It's like, there's no way that these things just happen, you know what I'm saying? Because just from my end, like, I could go backwards a little bit, but like so I've been riding motorcycles for maybe 5 or 6 years or so, but up until I got the bike, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not I should get a bike. And it was like, long story short, if I hadn't bought a motorcycle and made that decision, which is a really dangerous decision, I wouldn't have met you. And that doesn't make any sense because you don't have anything really to do with bikes, but that's because of Keo. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Keo's person was a Thunder Guard. Right. Like, she knew a Thunder Guard. I don't even ride like that. Like, I'm not a 1% hardcore biker or nothing like that. But, like, she was looking for people, and he was like, I think this is a good dude. I know he rides, all those things. Like, here we are. Like, it's just, it's not a coincidence at all. And, you know, even, so, that's not a coincidence. And then I'm just going to jump right into it. So, right now, Yap, you know, we're really trying to figure out how to save our boys in this city, right? We're really trying to figure out what we can do to totally reverse the situation that is currently in Wilmington with these young people. And I just think it's all however the universe works, you were meant to have a role in this. You know what I'm saying? And a significant role. It's obvious to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, what do you think? What are your some of your ideas in terms of what you think we can do to change the dynamic in Wilmington with these young boys shooting themselves all the time?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is, what do we do with the boys right now?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, how do we stop boys from becoming the boys right now?
Right.
So, one, I am a strong, I used to work for them, but I'm a strong advocate for the Boy Scouts of America.
You've always said that,
Yeah.
too. You've consistently said that.
Because some of the stuff, when you're looking at what are our boys, let's jump to our boys who are in the most critical parts of their life in terms of they're willing to die.
Yeah.
Right? They're willing to die. How do you get there? And so none of us really know.
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what's frustrating to me is people who are further from the situation, who aren't trained in analyzing the situation, seem to be leading the discussion about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I believe that the human beings are able to be conditioned to accept any reality. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
So for you and I, we want to live. So running around with a gun and in interacting with people in a violent way is not something that is connected to us wanting to live long.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had no value in living long, and when you really boil it down, why should you live long? What does that mean?
I mean, you could make a strong argument for that depending on what you get done. It's just like, from my end, it's just like, the main thing that I'm concerned with in terms of longevity now, and it's because I'm older, is trying to figure out what my piece of the puzzle is. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like, I got these babies and I got aged. Like I'm not over the hill yet. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, I feel the dogs chasing me on my back. Right. It's like I gotta get shit done. I gotta get shit done now. Otherwise, it's like I failed this test of life. You know what I'm saying? Like you've been given too much to fuck this up. You got shit to do.
But when you were 17,
I'm like, doesn't matter.
What are your like?
I have no idea.
Maybe I want a steady girlfriend. I don't know. I want a car.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the expectation for what you want out of life is so simple that. So let me just say this. I think that everyone wants a position and a place in this world. Everyone wants to be loved. I don't care who you are. You want to feel valued, right? For 99% of us. And so when I'm looking at the situation with the violence with our boys, it is beyond a criminal act.
Oh, for
sure. It is about my place in this world. It is about there are 10, 5, 30 people who know I will murder someone to protect you. That's how much I love you. Don't you love me because I will do that act for you? Mm-hmm. And so I see sometimes moms and what we're doing, like, why you hang around that bum? Talking about a kid's friend. Mm-hmm. And, I have to say, Mom, because that bum shot at somebody who was going to kill your son. And we can have an argument for, like, why was your son in the position, da-da-da. But he proved to your son that I'm willing to kill someone to protect you. You can't erase that. It's the same thing a soldier feels in Afghanistan or in Iraq. It's the same thing that a police officer feels when he's going out there with his partner. We just rationalize it to saying a kid shouldn't be doing that. Like, why are you doing that in the neighborhood?
Yep.
So, one, I think we need to discover what activity, what career is going to give you that level of purpose, that gives you the same feeling that, like, you protect someone's life. And that's where the struggle is, because it's not going to be, we're going to find jobs for you. So I go to work. I mean, because you and I both know, just through our job, we offer opportunities to work. I don't mean they're necessarily going to take it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. It's beyond.
I've seen that a million times. Absolutely,
It's beyond a paycheck. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, this paycheck's cool, but it gives me no purpose. It doesn't make me feel valued. It doesn't give me position in life. Mm-hmm. So you have that situation. So to me, there are things that we can do to support that. I say, for instance, we have a kid working at Burger King,
Mm-hmm.
but he gets to train younger kids coming in. So the 18-year-old gets to train the first-time employees who are, 15 years old and 6 months who are getting their first job.
Right.
So it's not about the paycheck. It's not about flipping burgers. It's not you giving me purpose to raise up this younger group, which is very close to the purpose you feel in saying, I want to raise my children.
100%.
It's close to the same purpose that I feel not having children, saying, I want to help these babies that we've been charged to supporting through probation, or my 5 godchildren. You know, it's the same thing. So, and then for the little ones, you know, going back to the Boy Scouts, it fills so many things, right?
Did you do Boy Scouts at all?
So I have a picture, right?
I can't even see this.
Listen, I got a picture doing the wrong sign and all that in the picture, right?
God.
I was a Boy Scout for 1 week.
Ew.
I got a picture in my living room. The pack master decided he was going to do this, and then the next week, him and his wife got a divorce, and it was over. And I was never a Boy Scout after. So I had the whole uniform, everything.
Yo, one
All
of the things my dad tried to do to keep me back, because I went to, like, it's not a secret, like, I went to a very, like, elite private school where I was, like, one of 2 black kids. So my dad consciously sent me to, like, the city camps to keep me in the city and to have that balance, so I didn't have any, you know, fear anywhere. And I remember him trying to bring the Boy Scouts to Hilltop Lutheran Neighborhood Center in the middle of the hood. And it was like, even at that age, like, I'm, you know, on both sides, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
How old were you?
I was probably like 8 or 9, you know what I'm saying? I remember thinking in my head, yeah, I'm gonna get the Eagle Scout. I'm gonna get this Eagle Scout, son. And like, I remember the little like yellow gold like tie
the
thing.
little buckle.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I think I think that is there a way to kind of make it more cool, do you think? Like, how do we make it so that they don't feel like dorks?
Okay,
like,
so,
yo, I'm not putting this.
Now,
you know what
no
I mean?
offense to whoever was the pack master for you.
Listen.
But really, it's about who are the people providing the program. And so that's so I've had a few conversations with people, and I'm looking forward to starting a pack for 7-year-olds. And so now the Cub Scouts is they're no longer just called the Boy Scouts, because now they've been integrated. So there's girls in there as well.
Right.
So the scouting program, I want to start a scouting program for possibly 7 boys, 7 girls. I want to start it in the 6th district, and I want to, everyone who's involved in that, is, you know, that we are recording this. We're documenting this because I need people to see this process. I'm going to actively recruit cool human beings to be the pack master, to set that culture so people know what it physically looks like. Now, here's the beauty of the Boy Scouts, what people don't realize. The people who actually engage the children, there's also a thing called the pack committee, which is really...
How do you know all this?
Because
You've been reading about...
No, I work for the Boy Scouts.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the PAC committee, there's actually a group of adults who are the government for the PAC, meaning they make sure the children are advancing, they're making sure the money is being raised. So
like a board.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't deal with the kids at all.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So the PAC master is not the guy in the PAC committee. And so you have a charter organization. Some organizations are going to say, because days of having it in your house, you can't do that anymore. Them is different, right? So you have a charter organization that says, we'll have this here. But I just need people to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because it is active academics. That's really what it is.
The thing is, from my end, like, I'm, you know, saying how if you're not careful, it could come across as corny. But when you dig into what they do, it's some manly shit. It's some cool stuff. Like, yo, who wants to go hunt? You want to go learn how to shoot a gun straight?
And that's really the Boy Scouts. When we're talking about the Cub Scouts, we're talking about Pine Derby. You're building a car. You're racing it down the
but
ramp.
everybody likes that.
You know, it's very simple, right? So when you're talking about 7-year-olds, you capture their attention with a leaf and a straw.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's really just taking them along this path, and also finding out other things in their life. And meanwhile, finding out, which is not traditionally the Boy Scout program, but because we're yappers, what else is going on in this child's life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, besides him just coming to this pack and doing these activities, how's mom doing? How's dad doing? Is somebody coming home? Has somebody died? How are we dealing with grief? So we want to add all those components to it.
Right.
But basically, I'm not about reinventing the wheel. We already got a program, and what I love about the scouting program is it's small, achievable goals that make you feel good about yourself. That you can say, I achieved this. It's not, okay, I got to go 4 years before I achieve the thing. It's small goals that you get to achieve.
So how strict are those rules in terms of, if you decide that you want to add like a home counseling component to it, do you automatically have that leeway to do that? Or is that just something you kind of throw in there? You know what I'm saying?
Well, technically, with the PAC committee, there isn't anything, and I would have to go back and look at the binders. I know no one is doing that.
Yeah.
Because no one thought of it.
Yeah.
It may happen.
But there's no like weird thing where it's like, no, you guys can't go outside of this box. There's nothing.
No.
Great.
No. And I'm sure it happens because, like, say you're the PAC master. Not saying I'm visualizing that, and I'm going to ask you later. But let's say you're the PAC master.
I want a different name than Pack Master too. Let's be honest.
Okay, Wolf Master.
Yes, I'm the Wolf Master.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Now I'm ready. Go ahead.
You got a couple kids coming, and the kid is coming. His clothes is dirty. You like me knowing you're naturally going to be like, I need this.
I'm going to start howling like a wolf to let them know.
Yeah, like mom and dad or mom, uncle, whatever. Hey, I'm going to drop him off, and I'm coming like, his clothes is dirty. Can I come in? Like all of your yap, basic, we'll put yap at the end. All of the training that you've had as a human being and your training as a yapper kicks in, and you would go in there and say, hey, look, okay, you guys are struggling. You're not eating. You're not washing clothes. Let's see what resources. Let's contact the Department of Health and Social Service. Let's contact this community center and get you some food. I can sign you up for these things. So that portion is not happening in the traditional sense. But let me say this. When I worked for the Baltimore Area Council, the Boy Scouts sell popcorn, right?
Okay.
Girl Scouts sell the cookies.
Right. I had no idea they
Boy Scouts get popcorn, right?
Like, is it like a caramel popcorn?
It's high-end bougie popcorn.
Really?
Okay? Oh, yeah.
How come no one knows about Boy Scouts popcorn?
Because it costs too much money, right? So
popcorn costs money?
Listen, bro. I'm talking about
a bin like this. I've never heard of that.
It's like $25 for this right here. So it is the business model for the popcorn works best in neighborhoods that have disposable income.
Sure.
If you're in certain neighborhoods, you're not going to see kids walking around selling popcorn because they already know. But you may see them at a Walmart. You may see them selling popcorn. Like, here's my popcorn. So I've seen packs. Excuse me. I've seen packs in Baltimore raise $25,000, $30,000 during popcorn season.
Slinging popcorn.
Popcorn. You know what they do with that money? They go ahead and they buy a van and a trailer. Then they pay for their kids to go out in the woods and have tents and all of this. So they don't need to ask government or the city for money. They raise it. So popcorn. So in certain neighborhoods, you may not be able to, although that's what Boy Scouts do, you just have to figure out something that works well for the community or a lower priced item,
I dig it.
But yeah. So it's, hopefully I look forward to really being able to do it and on a low scale. We're basically going to cherry pick the adults so that people could see what does this thing look like when it's done at the highest level and moving.
So I love all of this. I really do, because I don't think I've ever really talked to you in depth about that. And again, for some reason, I'm still stuck on here. We got to figure out how to change the uniform. Like, we got to make the uniform a little bit cooler. Like, this kind of, like maybe like a little baggier dicky. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you can wear whatever you want.
But don't they have like the uniform? Like,
I mean, you have the basic shirt, but here's the thing: when you're
at least a big baggy shirt where you can wear like a work shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing: when you're a Cub Scout, the kids are growing so fast that it probably started out baggy, and then you hit a growth spurt in 2 months, and next thing you know, that joint is like up to here, and you're buying another one. So we would have to figure out the clothing thing as well, but it's just once again, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to for our kids, and in this world, they have no time spent outside in the woods, recalibrating
and it's so
themselves. The same thing you get as a bike rider when you like, yo, look, I like going 30 miles an hour, going through the woods on a back trail. That thing you get to recalibrate yourself to nature and balance yourself out. You know, one of the funny things is a cat, which is one of the most agile animals on the planet, somehow loses all focus and concentration in the midst of concrete and gets hit by a car that's big, making noise, driving up the street. Like, what happens?
I totally agree.
So once we could take our kids, and I had the opportunity to be a part of a thing called Fly By Light, where we took some kids from D.C. up into the mountains close to Maryland, West Virginia. And it was something magical seeing these kids recalibrate. This place was beautiful because the house was next to a stream that rolled in the back. I don't even know if you can even get that. We were able to jump in the water, sit on the rocks and all this. But anyway, man.
But it's their first time experiencing that. Like almost for sure. It's like this is probably, it's got to be one of the first time in their lives where they've been like, whoa. There's a whole different experience.
Oh no, it was more like, yo, what is this? I want out.
I'm not comfortable with this.
I'm just ain't cool. It was a vegan camp, right? One of the girls said, I'm a meatitarian. What is this? So they had to compromise. They went out and got like.
Well, I wouldn't function well. I'd be hungry.
Oh, yo, the kids, they was like, yo, what is this fake meat stuff?
Listen.
So it was some transitioning, but they were able to accept it, and the work of the camp was dealing with trauma.
Okay.
So it got to some power. There's actually a movie. They shot a movie, and I'm in this movie. And it's powerful. These kids that held on to all of this stuff were able to release it in these workshops around releasing trauma. There was also a recording studio, so there was basically it was set up like a school day, and you had periods. So one of the periods allowed you to record music. One of it was this. So one group was here, one group was here, and at the end, I'm gonna say, no offense to anyone, but I'm gonna say a black Native American, although my history teaches me that there were Africans who already came to the Americas before Christopher Columbus, and Christopher Columbus in his diary that his son released said he saw
that's not even debatable history
people,
at this point.
Right?
It's just the fact.
But we'll say black
I mean, you got the
Indians,
Olmec on your desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, kick rocks.
We'll say black Indians, right? But so at the end of the event, the boys and girls went into a teepee that had heated rocks and all of that, and they went in boys and girls and came out men and women.
And for how long are they going?
So the whole camp was for 13 days.
That's a long time.
Listen, it was absolutely magical, man. It was amazing. And what I discovered from that was the girls transformed in their real life. After that was done, the girls took off, yo.
Really?
The girls absolutely took. The boys, they still
because we're boys. We're boys. Yeah. What kinds of things did you see that were so dramatically different with the girls? So
a lot of the girls, they were either the oldest in their family and responsible for the younger ones, or they were they could go to college but their grades weren't well, or they were straight up artists. So I watched artists that were just, you're a pretty cool kid artist, really take that and transform to like, oh, you are one of the trendsetters on the scene now. That experience, who you were when you showed up here, you're no longer that person. Or the young girl who was the caretaker of her siblings, hey, I'm going to college now. You could just see a difference in the presentation and just their hair and just how they carried themselves.
What do you think it was about that experience? Was it just simply separating, or because you also had like really sort of guided workshops that were really specific in terms of digging in there and figuring all of those things? Or
you got it, bro.
Yeah.
It was like, what makes you your mom and your dad?
Right.
And I, just knowing your story, it's your mom and your dad.
No doubt.
Right? So it was like everything from being able to remove them from the mass amount of poison that they ate on a regular basis. That was part of it. Being able to wake up in the morning and literally walk through a stream and sit on a rock while the water was going by. These are kids from D.C.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all of that, being able to release and cry. Some kids said some things they had never told anyone. It was a powerful thing. And so with that, Howard, Minister Jazz. There's definitely other people who were involved in that. They were careful in leading those children through that process and allowing that part to come out and still being able to be there to catch them, to support them in that emotion. And really, that's something that should happen every year. And, you know, I made a post the other day about...
That doesn't happen regularly with those kids? I mean,
no,
not with
they've
those
had
kids,
other
but
versions, but it doesn't happen every year.
why not?
Because
Is
it's
it
all based
money?
on funding. It's
Money.
all based on that type of stuff. So, you know, I
That's
did
tragic.
a post that said, you know, we're constantly, people who don't know are constantly saying, we need more programs for the kids. But there are programs for the kids that you just won't fund.
So that's the next question I actually have in my head for you right now. And I think I know your answer, but so do you think that Wilmington already has everything it needs, and it's just a matter of utilizing and organizing and you know, putting all the pieces together? Like, are there any big gaps that you see? Like, okay, we definitely don't have this, we need this, but it's like, is it all there to you?
So, yes and no.
Okay.
So, money, it's all there.
That's
All right, money, it's all there.
too much.
So, what you'll see is you have people who are whatever age, and they're like, hey, I'm committed, I want to start a program to help the kids. They don't know anything about getting an EIN number, becoming a nonprofit, getting a bank account. They know none of those things. They just have the passion to work with children. We need to be able to, as a government, we need to be able to say, hey, we acknowledge that there are people out there who want to do this work. They just don't know the business side. Let's help them through the business side. And so that's not there. There are programs that are out there that can expand, but because they don't understand the infrastructure, because that's not what they do. You know, I had a friend one day who called me and she was like, yeah, I hired this guy to cut my tree, and he cut the tree, but he was just terrible about everything else. And I said to her, I said, look, you got to understand, when we say we're gonna go to a black establishment, same thing. You're showing a person who has the commitment to do this work. Maybe they can cut the tree down. They could do that good. They didn't go to business school.
Right. Yeah.
They don't know you got to respond to the emails and call back. That's an aspect that even the people who cut trees, the guy who cut the tree doesn't respond to emails.
Right.
It's the largest business, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we have all of the parts. It's about strengthening those various parts, and that's not there. The glue is not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but it's like I said, the parts are there. It's just about someone overseeing these things and putting them all together. And the beautiful thing about Wilmington, right? Wilmington really is such a beautiful gem. It's 2 hours from New York. It's 2 hours from D.C. It's in the heart of the cultural, whatever you want to call it, D.C. and New York, and you're right in the heart.
It doesn't make any. We should be a total hub for culture, and the
Inexpensive to live here.
It's the best.
And then, you know, you and I have taken our ride on the Jam Trail. If you're into nature, there is so much nature going on around.
10 minutes. It's a 10-minute drive, and that's the thing that always is like mind-boggling to me. That people say they're either bored or, you know, what am I supposed? Like you, it's so easy to get that reset here. You can literally drive 10 minutes and find like a completely quiet, literally a quiet lake where there's nothing going on except birds. And I post. Here I am. You can just go on the map and like click, and this is exactly where I am, and you can go too. Like, I don't want you to take my peace place, but like, come take it, because I got mine, and I can go further. I know enough. So it's like, yeah. And I don't know why more people don't get it, and I keep like, you know, we see artists like, oh, I'm not inspired here in Wilmington, and I'm leaving, and I'm going here, and I get it. Like, on one hand, I feel like if you have never lived outside of Delaware, you have to. You gotta get out. Yeah, leave. If you've never been outside of Wilmington, leave. And I've been enough places where it's like, no, I'm choosing here. I want to be here. I could be in another place if I wanted to, and I know you get it because you're here and selling more and more, and you know, literally changing the place for the better. But I'm glad that, you know, other people who I'm glad other people see it. That's it. You know.
I love, but I've been this guy. You know, being Jamaican American, being Jamaican, I grew up with a certain level of nature. So even in Baltimore, I was doing the same thing. And, you know, I was going. There's a place called the King and Queen Seat that's in Maryland, which is an area that a Native American tribe, the king and queen, would sit on this cliff and talk to their people below it. You know what I mean? It's a 150-foot walk up this cliff. One day we got to go so you can see this thing. So I've been into that, I was gifted that by my birthright. And what I want to be able to do is to expose people who weren't gifted that by their birthright. You know, so really, it's going to require us, bro, putting handcuffs on them and be like, "Yo, you coming with us?"
Dude, but I'm for it.
And dragging them out there.
I'm waiting to drag 3 knuckleheads and stuff them in the back of my truck and shut the fuck up. We're going here, and you're going to deal with it, and we'll be back next weekend.
And your cell phone ain't going to work.
You know, it's not, and it's going to be great.
Especially if you got Sprint.
Yep. AT&T too.
Because I got Sprint.
Yeah, but like, you know, literally hours later, you'll be like, I actually feel better. Like, it's that hard reset. You know what I mean? I totally get it. So, let's talk about the Jamaican thing for a second, because I need to tell this story, which is funny as shit to me. So, you know, John's Jamaican, and what's one of the stereotypes about Jamaicans? That they can run fast. Like, Jamaicans can run, and you're a track guy, right? So, I gotta tell you. So, I take pretty good care of myself. I don't eat a perfect diet, but I eat pretty clean, and I work out.
Like, I got abs.
You know what I'm saying? And I go to the track, and I run sprints, and I'm like, I don't know too many people in this place who can beat me in a race at my age. I know it's some young bucks, whatever. So I know that Ja ran track, so he's probably faster than me. It's just likely, you know what I'm saying? But like, I was like, I'm gonna go to the track with Ja. Went to the track one day. So I remember
like 6'200s. I think that's what we did.
It was like 6'200s, right? Yeah. So I'm like, yo, let me see. Like, I know he's probably a little faster. He's a little bigger. He looks stronger, but I'm quick. Like, I can get off the line quick. You know what I'm saying? My little legs can move. So I remember you. I just remember you taking off. I remember you starting, and I was like, I don't run like that. As I'm running, I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't look like what I'm doing. And he's just walking away. It was the funniest thing, dude. It was so, I will never forget.
That was fun. And I really, the cherry on the top was the other guy who came out.
Yo, that was the best part about it, because we went out there for one of the young boys. He was in his 20s, though, right?
He was in his 20s. Hold on, listen. Let me look directly in the camera.
Yes, this is a great story.
We're older, okay? This guy that I met at the Planet Fitness, this guy played football. He's ripped.
Yo, he was jacked. I was like, yo, he looks like a problem son.
Jay and I are about 3 in already. He comes out to the track. He goes, I said, yo, look, you want to warm up a little bit? He does 1 lap. I'm like, okay, that's probably not enough warm up. Next thing I know, my man takes his shirt off.
And he looks like the Hulk.
I'm like, hold on, no, this is not going to go well. I said, yo, look, when you start off, right, just go out slow and then catch up.
Right.
Jay and I take off, his ego kick in. He tries to catch up.
And I hear him behind me like, I hear cluck, 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 cluck. I'm like, oh, I got to turn it up.
He pulls a hammy, and that was it for him. I never saw the guy ever again. I'd seen this guy for like weeks. I never saw him again.
That's my only saving grace, because you smoked me, but I was like, I beat the young boy. He couldn't even make it. Kick rocks.
I was like, listen to directions. I said, you're not warmed up. Yeah, man, track and field is, Jamaica had, at one point, track was a national, the government focused all its attention into track and field.
Did you get into track because of the Jamaican thing, or just not even thinking about it?
I was born in the Bronx, and PS 87, that's what we did. All of the rims outside were ripped down. So basketball wasn't even, I didn't even touch a basketball and shoot it into a hoop until I was 13 years old. Yeah, because all the rims were ripped down, right? So we would race every single day. The same group of kids.
Give me the picture. Like, where are you racing?
So, you got
we're in the Bronx.
PS 87.
Yeah.
You have your little cemented courtyard.
But no track.
No track. We're running from the line to the gate and back. Right? That's what we doing. Occasionally we run from the line to the handball wall and back. It would be the same people getting first, second, third, fourth every single day. But we did this 4 races every day, every single day.
What grade are you about now?
So we're talking 3rd grade. I was in a 7-day Adventist school.
That's a whole story. Okay,
oh yeah. Listen, man. if you ain't never been beat in school before, you in another era, okay? Listen,
Yo,
I got beat in school with a ruler, okay? Let me tell you where I'm coming from.
I need.
Listen.
Oh, that is.
I don't even remember my teacher's name, but the black guy across the hall was Mr. Boyd.
Do you remember what you got beat for?
Okay, somebody in here is talking. Oh, y'all lying.
Wait, was it a mainly black school? You're in the Bronx, right?
No, it was but it was a 7-day Adventist school. So
that's what. So I'm really confused now.
So I was there from preschool to 2nd grade, and now that you challenge me, I cannot distinctly remember any faces in that school. So I would say it was a mixed population. The only thing I remember really is my seat was always next to the teacher because I'd be daydreaming, and she needed to be able to touch me like, hey, do your work. And Mr. Boyd, anytime it got too hectic, would come across the hallway. He would take the metal strip out the ruler so he ain't cut you. He would have 2 of those taped up, and you ain't want Mr. Boyd on you, okay?
Oh, my.
And the other thing I remember was some kid taking me and sliding me across the floor, and my head hitting the table and having a cocoa, and all the girls gave me Valentine's Day cards.
Are you kidding me? Were most of the teachers white? Because all I'm picturing in my head is all these white people beating on black kids with rulers.
I think so. They were like older white ladies, and I remember Mr. Boyd really being the only black person, and he would beat only the boys though.
Okay.
Yeah. He was beating up. And as I remember, Mr. Boyd was kind of like thin and not really that buffed or nothing. He was just bigger than us.
Of course, he's an adult.
So yeah, so I went there with my cousins. They moved from the Bronx to Rockland County, and then my mom took me to PS 87, and then I went there to my 6th grade year.
Okay.
And then my parents, my mom and my stepdad moved to Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
What part of Bucks County?
Fairless Hills.
How far up is that? I was in
Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Sesame Place?
Oh, you right up there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And I like to tell people, like, people think in black neighborhoods, think they know what racism is like because of your interaction with police officers.
Right.
You do not know what racism is until you are the only black family in the neighborhood.
The black Jamaican family, too.
Okay? That's real. I mean, I remember a guy telling my brother, go home and tell your daddy we killing niggas tonight.
Jesus.
I remember when I got there was this little white girl. I was like, oh, she cute. Because she had dark hair and dark eyes. So in my mind, she was probably mixed. Right?
Yeah.
She went home and talked to her daddy. Her daddy's like, yo, she straight up stopped talking to me.
Wow.
The first day we moved in the neighborhood, I remember waving to the lady. She went like this.
Yeah.
And turned on her heels and went back inside. I remember a car driving by the neighborhood with me and my brother outside telling us scream and oh no, they were screaming, burn, burn. I said to my brother Kenny, I said, yo, they came around twice. I said, yo, I'm about to get the machete, you get the axe. And we just stood outside. The third time they came screaming they saw us out there and they didn't come back. But it was the very first day of school I was called a nigga. You know what I mean? And I'm so proud of myself now because I don't know where I had the testicles to do this. Because there was 3 boys who did it and I confronted them. Right? I said, yo, did you just call me a nigga? It was like, no.
So how old were you? Because I'm trying to hear.
I'm in the 7th grade.
You're in 7th grade, so you had like a little kid voice, right?
Yeah, I'm like,
right. I want to hear that voice. Like, and how much R did you put on it? Like, was it nigga or nigger?
Listen,
you know what I mean?
My family is really Jamaican, so there's a lot of American things that I didn't know. I wasn't taught American history. I didn't know nothing about no civil rights.
Really?
Nah, man. My family was, you are a Charles, you are a Smith, you walk in this world with respect and carry the honor of your family name.
Yeah.
It wasn't about being black.
Interesting.
I didn't understand or discover being black until I went to Copper State College, or now University in Baltimore, Maryland. It's at that point that I discovered, like, oh,
really?
You tell me that there's a pyramid on the back of the U.S. dollar that's an African pyramid? You mean to tell me that all of these
When
things
did you get into the Garveyism? Was it in Coppin?
At Coppin. So really? My cousin Stephen Golden, he's the
What the
one.
fuck is blip? Is that some Jamaican shit? Oh, okay.
Right?
Don't talking over my head right now.
Don't bloop in Wilmington.
No.
But there's other cultures where a bloop is.
Because I'm gonna go to main dish and remember Lamar and be like, at main dish, hey, can I get a small jerk chicken bloop? Don't do that. Okay, I won't do that.
When I opt out. When I opt no bloop. Right? So he's the one, my cousin, he's the one who introduced me to Garvey. But it really, the start wasn't Garvey. The start was, I mentioned him before, my brother Derek Jones. Our friendship started because I was holding, in 1996, I got a book called Rastafari by Dennis Forsyth. Mm-hmm. And that book opened up my mind to the spiritual side. And that thing led to me learning about Carlos Castaneda, which very few people, you're probably going to have to be born in 1940 something and white to know who I'm talking about at this point. But Carlos Castaneda is an anthropologist, blah, blah, blah. Listen, discover that on your own. It could be a treat, maybe not. So, but really, Carlos Castaneda deals with our connection to everything living in this world. Okay. And that you are a luminous being. You are a light. And being able to see the light in people rather than the flesh that's presented, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's also an aspect of dreaming that I won't even go into. So, Rastafari by Dennis Forsyth. The other book was The Broader Files by Anthony T. Broader. Okay. So the day that I recall really meeting my brother, my best friend, I was going into the school and he was coming out of this door. So it's just so symbolic. I'm going into the one class, the one building we have classes. He's coming out. We're holding the door. He has his book in his hand. I say, hey, what's that book? He goes, oh, it's The Broader Files. I read The Broader Files, which is a very thin book. That book was probably the next level of me understanding, there's other elements to being melanated in this country. There's a whole history about Africa that I'm unaware of. Really? And then I went through a process of being angry. I'm like, you have to go out of your way to hide how wonderful Africa is. How do I not know this? Why do I think that the number 13 is a negative number? However, in African culture, 13 is the higher elevation. Yep. That there are 13 pyramids on the dollar. That on the eagle above his head is 13 stars. Mm-hmm. That in the talon there's 13 arrows. I didn't know that. There's 13 leaves on the fig leaf. Matter of fact, the nation was started with 13 colonies for that very reason. Understanding those African principles. And how, I don't know, you got to go out of your way to hide how brilliant and amazing the richest continent on the earth is. Yep. The fact that Africa is the largest continent, largest landmass, but when you look on the map, Russia is. Like, all of those little stuff made me very angry. Mm-hmm. And it took a while for me to be comfortable and to come back into understanding, everyone is on their own unique journey. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Discover what you need to discover. Just know you have to keep learning and searching. So that's how the Garvey thing came in. And Marcus Garvey is just... Are you still very much involved with a lot of that stuff? So not in America, but I do perform and do work with the UNIA in Jamaica. Okay. So the UNIA right now is we'll say splintered. Okay. And almost like all black organizations. Right now, if you and I wanted to take over the NAACP of Delaware, right? Right. We probably only need 50 friends. Okay. And you can be president next year. Okay. Because these organizations that we have are such a skeleton of themselves that it doesn't take that much for a group of people to come in and take it in a direction that wasn't its intended direction. Sure. So most of the work I do in Kingston because that's my cousin is the president of the Kingston division, and I know my cousin. Right. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much where it is. It's another interesting sort of, coincidence is, the fact that you're into the Garveyism, and then, I'm almost certain within the time that you moved here, and I think this was actually led by Brother Richard Raw. The Garvey City thing, what I mean? It's just one of those another one's weird coincidences. Right, you know what I mean? It's just I'm always trying to
halfway put the pieces together as much as I can, as much as my brain will let me. It's just like, that's not a coincidence. It's bizarre. You know what I mean?
No such thing as coincidence. And you know, when my brother who passed away, that's when so many things had happened that I know that there cannot possibly be a thing called death.
So let's go. I wanted to make sure that we hit this because I know that you told me a couple of these stories with Ooh and the bull, and like every year these certain things happen. So, you know, explain as much as you can these coincidences. It's not a coincidence, so I'm going to even stop calling them coincidences. Right. These occurrences that you see that let you know that there's got to be more, and you maybe, you know, I don't know what exactly, but it's like there's something else. There's got to be.
So I'll tell you some of the more significant ones. For instance, on the day that he passed away, he passed away June 1st, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother, and we'll say he immediately is associated with the number 7, but it's really a number of spirituality.
Okay.
But him being God body, number 7 is a serious number. So the fact that he passed away on June 1st,
6 plus 1. Okay.
2014, 2 sevens gives you 14.
Okay. I'm following you.
He actually passed away 3 days after his birthday.
Okay.
Right? So we had a party, we had a celebration, and 600 people's out there. I'm gonna start out light.
Yeah.
We all have tea tree candles in our hands, and one of the things about brown fish and our musical family history is the rain.
Okay.
It's dry outside. We're ending the night. Everyone has these tea tree lights. We're outside. I say, okay, everybody, thank you for coming out. Okay, at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to just blow out your, as I say blow out your, it starts to lightly rain.
Well, that's just trippy.
And lights and puts out everyone's tea tree.
That shit gives me chills right now. Dude.
And there's
crazy as fuck.
400 or 500 people who witnessed that.
Yeah, dude.
On the day that he passed away, and we're bringing his, so I'll say this, a serious thing that happened in my life. We actually, so me and 3 other people actually prepared Oo's body, symbolically. So he was wrapped in white. We took oils and wiped his feet, his hands, his face. On that day, one of us was also our best friend, who was the godfather to his daughter.
Okay.
Happened to have a girlfriend or his wife who was pregnant. She went to the hospital because she was feeling complications. So we had just finished dressing Oo's body. We get this call, and within 3 hours of dressing his body, the baby came. So you go from dressing a body for a funeral to holding a newborn baby. That's not really the whole coincidence thing, but that experience was so mind-shifting to see death and life like that.
Yeah.
On the day we're having this funeral, and so Ooh used to be called Osiris.
Okay.
And, as in Osiris.
Right.
Osiris is represented by the black bull.
Yeah.
So on the day we're bringing
this is the trippiest one of me.
We're bringing his coffin out of the we'll call it the church, and Sankofa drummers, they're out there drumming and dancing. As we're bringing his coffin out, once again, a couple hundred people saw this. It rains just over his coffin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about there's a whole parking lot, yo. And there's actually video of that. I don't know if you can tell that it's raining, but there's video. We're talking about a couple hundred people witnessed that.
Yeah,
so as we're taking his body to his final resting place, he lived on North Avenue. No one knew that there was a slaughterhouse on North. It's like there being a slaughterhouse on Market Street that no one knows about.
Right.
So on the day we're driving him, Osiris, to lay him to rest, a black bull escapes from
shit is so trippy.
Off of North Avenue. Our school where we met is on North Avenue.
Like, if I didn't know you, I'd be like, stop lying, dude. Like,
look,
you can't make that up.
You can look this up. What is the day we laid him to rest? June 13th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You can look that up, and it'll say black bull escapes from slaughterhouse on that day.
Yo.
So remember the 7. So 5 years to the day the anniversary of us laying him to rest,
Mm-hmm.
2 black bulls escape the same slaughterhouse
Just it freaks me out.
and runs out. Now, I can show you these pictures. You know, I'm just gonna stop there because there are so many. And so after a while, you just be like, I don't even get excited at them anymore because I either just look at it as, while you're here on this earth,
Mm-hmm.
one of the most powerful things about him is that his passing caused a lot of people that I know to be better human beings.
Mm.
There was guys who were whack fathers who decided I'm going to be a better father. There was people who, during times of tragedy or in times that things needed to change, would say, what would Ooh do? And so I think that the greatest part about his life in this transition is 2 things. One, you don't know when you're going to be called home.
Yeah.
Called back to the source. And 2, live a life that the day that you're called home, you leave a legacy behind.
That's
that
the whole
people
thing.
say, I want to be like that guy. I want to be of service to people. I want to go to school. I want to do these things. And that's really the most amazing parts about his life is that he continues to inspire people even after so many years after his death. Right?
Yeah.
Brother Ooh, bloop, bloop, bloop. Yes, sir.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
So, do you have a specific spirituality that you subscribe to at this point, and if so, what is it, and how did you get there? You know what I mean?
I'm a Abludapo. And,
oh man, this guy! I almost bit. Is that time the blip thing? The
Yo,
blip?
you was talking. I was like, yo, what sound am I gonna make? What's like? I should go. I should go do.
You know, or just something ridiculous, but yeah.
I was born 7-day Adventist. And
Really?
Yeah, 7-day.
That's why you went to the school, because I didn't know if your mom had sent you to set, like if that was kind of like a good, like a charter school in a way, like you sent kids to Catholic school.
7-day Adventist.
Wow.
And, I'm talking about for real 7-day Adventist. Especially when I went to Jamaica.
You're such a unique dude, man.
Right.
I had no idea.
So, you know, I started studying Rastafari, and then what was Rastafari made me a better student. Because at that point, my freshman year, let's not talk about my freshman year grades, but after that, I recognized that if I could study this thing, then I could study whatever I want. I just didn't have a thing that motivated me to study like that. So then, after that, check them grades. So, Rastafari, and then after a certain point, once I had read all of the books, I was able to see how the beginning of Rastafari, which started in Pinnacle Hill, which just started with a man with beard, no dreads, had morphed into this thing that it is now. And then I just started seeing similarities in all religion. And then I would casually just say, my religion is that which is common in all religions.
So, perfect segue. Because how long have we been recording? How long have we been recording about? So, we spent this whole hour and we haven't touched upon music. You understand? We haven't even touched it. Like, this is why I find you to be so interesting, because we've talked this whole time and haven't even touched music.
Right,
and that's
right.
how I know you first because of Gap, but like, music. So I think we're similar in that we both didn't get involved with music until relatively late, right? So take me there. Like, when did you start to get involved? Wait, when you were a kid, what did you listen to? Like, what did you grow up when you listened to?
I listened to, going to Jamaica. I lived in Jamaica for 3 months out of the year.
That's a long time.
So music was serious because every Friday to Saturday you you enter the Sabbath, close out the Sabbath. It's all music. We're singing. You don't listen to music on the radio. So
what kind of music was it?
Gospel music.
Just
all of this
traditional gospel, like Mahalia, that kind of stuff?
No, got this out of the hymn book and you sing.
Yes.
You don't listen to the radio.
Yes.
You don't turn on the radio. You don't turn on the TV.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's all, I surrender all. And uncles doing the deep parts and the aunts saying, all of that type of thing.
But this is Jamaican Seventh-day Adventist, so it's not like it's not that kind of, is it not? It's different, right?
Nah.
So,
although there are some who do that. You know, at some point, if something lives long enough, there is a version of it in every aspect, right? So that version was very much singing the hymn books, very, I wouldn't say refined, but you're not doing all that extra stuff.
Yeah.
However, a Seventh-day Adventist church that I went to with my aunt in the Bronx, it was that.
It was.
There was a whole drum. It was lively. You know what I mean? So if you live long enough, there'll be a version of whatever, right?
Sure.
That's the kind of music I got into. When I was a kid, I would go to sleep with my own radio. I would listen to in the 90s. Old school was like the 20s, so I would listen to Motown, big band. I would listen to Duke Ellington
in the 90s.
You know what I mean? I would just turn the station. I was a lover of lyrics. I would listen to some of these Motown songs.
So you're a lyric guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't really care if you can play behind your neck and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
If I can't hear the lyrics, I get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you saying?
Interesting.
You know what I mean? I want to know that. So.
Well, what about music in different languages?
Well, I didn't really listen to music in different languages. Unless you want to talk about different dialects. I grew up listening to soca and calypso and reggae, but as I got older, I just loved melodies.
Okay.
And I think the primary different music that is presented in a different language that I listen to is probably Afro-Cuban.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't really know what they're saying, but it's that West Indian feel. It's still that African thing,
yes.
you know?
Yes.
So the first song, I'm walking, coming back from classes, going to the dorms, 10th grade year, and I said...
Freshman year.
No, sophomore year.
Freshman, sophomore year, did you have a CD collection?
Yeah, the very first CD I bought was Mint Condition.
That's great! That's great!
Mint Condition.
Wait, so did you catch any of that early 90s, like NWA at that point?
I did not listen to any rap music as a kid. I couldn't even understand what they were saying.
That's great! That's so interesting!
I'd be like, yeah, what did it... My brother Kenyon would come, because he lived in Brooklyn, my stepbrother.
Yeah.
He would come and play the Big Daddy Kane and the Rakim and the Special Ed.
Like,
Special Ed's like my favorite one of my favorite artists, right?
No, he's dope.
So, but I could not understand
and he's lyrical, and he's
what
great.
Rakim was saying. I couldn't understand what KRS was... Like, what words are they saying?
That's even
And I
funnier
lived in the Bronx.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't understand.
That's funnier to me because you're also, I mean, obviously you're American, and then you're used to the Jamaican accent, so I would imagine that you would have an easier time picking up on. That's really funny.
I was not drawn to the hip hop culture because not only could I not understand what they were saying in the music, when I would see the graffiti, I'm like, yo, what is that? I don't know. They were like, that says freedom to live. I'm like, where? I'm like, I can't even see.
That's such a unique perspective.
Where's the F in there?
Right.
You know,
so you got Mint Condition, and what else?
After that, I don't even remember. I just remember specifically. So before
the Pretty Brown Eyes, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was the one that got you. It's like, yo, I need a CD now, son.
I need
this is where we're starting.
And I think maybe the next couple, I remember getting Busta Rhymes. I remember getting Machiavelli. I wasn't
a heavy hitter.
Fan.
Yeah.
But Machiavelli, I was like, yo, this guy, Tupac, is amazing. And I'm a Biggie guy, you know what I mean? I was like, man, 1, 2, 3. I was like, yeah, I love this guy. So,
was there a specific song that grabbed you?
Like Hail Mary.
Okay.
When he was talking
that was
about
heavy. So heavy.
The girlfriend being the gun, I was like, that was like the first time my mind was being opened to the artistry. I'm like, oh, this guy. Now, there might have been a whole bunch of other people who did it. Nas, I think, may have done it before then.
That was your intro.
But that was my intro to it because I was very much, I listened to Motown.
Yeah.
I listened to love songs. You know what I mean? Like, I was driven by a person's ability to express love. I didn't even know love, but they used to hit me in my chest like, oh, look at the lyrics. I'm like,
in my heart.
I'll be going to sleep like, that's real love right there.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, and then one day I'm coming down
Mint Condition in the 90s.
Yeah,
That's so
Mint Condition
wild.
was the first CD I purchased. And
okay, keep going. This is great.
So what I do remember in high school, I was Shabba Ranks and Super Cat.
And you understood what they were saying.
Yeah, I understand.
And then not there. I'm like, oh, this shit, I have no idea what they're saying.
Although from time to time I realize a word I thought it was, I'm like, what? Are you telling me that's what he said? And
I still don't know.
But yeah, I listened to, because I had tapes and I listened to that kind of stuff. Born Jamaicans was dope to me because it was, you know, there's times when, as a Jamaican American, right? When you go to Jamaica, right? And they be like, yo, you're Yankee. 1 minute you're American, then the next thing you the same family member like, hey boy, you're Jamaican, don't do that. You're like, yo, wait a minute, American and Jamaican, what you want? So you're in between these two cultures. So Born Jamaican was dope to me because I was like, yeah, they know me. You know, and the same thing to the movie Shotters. You know, with Kimani Marley. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I don't think I've seen
I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm bringing Shotters over.
Bet, yeah.
And so once again, it was the first time I'm seeing my culture being in the midst of being Jamaican and living in America. And so there was a few artists that helped bridge that. And Super
Cat. You haven't gotten Bob Marley yet.
Oh, Bob is beyond. Yo, Bob. So let me tell you this. Really, I grew up with my stepfather, and if you played anything other than soca music in the house, it ain't happening. Okay. My stepfather despised
like
NWA.
Like,
hey, take that thing off. You can't dance to that. So if you couldn't dance to it, he wasn't playing it, and he only played soca and calypso. So Mighty Sparrow, Arrow, all them boy there, those guys is what I actually grew up listening to every single day in the house. So that was locked in your being. Yeah, every single day. And Mighty Sparrow is probably the only person who's known as the king of a genre that's still alive.
So you got the melody in your head. It just kind of comes to you, right? And then where does it go from there?
Well, that song happened like that. I almost will not even think of a song if I don't have my guitar.
Okay.
I don't even try.
Really?
I don't even. I'm not the guy to be like, oh, yeah. Let me go get the guitar, because I've never taken a guitar lesson. I've never taken a singing lesson. So if I come up with a melody in my head, I don't know the chords to go and play to match that melody in my head.
Makes sense.
So what I do is I fiddle around with the guitar, and I'll be like, wow, yo, that I hear the lyrics in that.
Okay.
And I'll be like, and then I start from there.
And that's your process.
Yeah, I actually hear lyrics coming off of the guitar, off of the string, or it may be a melody, and I put the words in there that I hear.
Yeah, I do find that everyone in as much as everyone has their own process, I notice a whole lot of similarity. Like, I think even the guy who's filming this, Splitface, is like, when he writes, like, it'll start with like nonsense. You'll see him writing and then it just, you start to fill in the pieces to the puzzle, and I think that's just kind of how it works for most people. Like, you get like a vowel, like the vowel should be an E, and then you like, I don't, you know, and you start to fill in the gaps, right?
Yeah, you just start. I guess it's similar to painting. You know, you start, you make this outline, and you be like, okay, what am I going to do in the middle of this? You know, and I almost write all my songs straight through. I don't do any revisions. Okay. There's no second, third version of it. It is just like it is. You know what I mean? And I've always looked at my music as a more spiritual. When I started doing music, I had no intentions on selling. Okay. I didn't even think that far ahead.
Did you do it just for fun? Like, I just enjoy the process.
A song popped in my head.
It's here.
I guess I'm supposed to.
So you could just be like, yeah, anyway, keep it moving.
Now, something else told me. So my first album that's still unreleased, I took reggae dub.
Oh, you want some Wu-Tang type time? Like, it's gonna be that you're gonna give it to somebody for $5 million, sell it.
There we go. There we go. I'm gonna put it on a rocket and send it to Pluto. Right. And then somebody in Pluto goes.
Are you kidding me? My first but unreleased album. Did you just flex that? You did just flex that.
I do have an unreleased project.
My first but unreleased.
It's about 18 songs. I listen to it every once in a while. I'm like, yo, I sound like a baby. Yo, listen, the voice is like. Actually, that's not one of the songs, but you get the point. So I took reggae dub that had no lyrics, and I wrote lyrics over that reggae dub. At the time, I had, what was the record recorded? Awi? Whatever. Iowa? What was it, Iowa? I think that's it. So it had the double cassette. So what I would do is I would put the CD in. I'd have my mic.
I know what you're talking about.
I put the tape in. I'd record my lyrics on there. Then I would take another tape, put that one in there, put this one in there, then I do my overdubs, and that's how I put together my first project. That probably no more than 11 people have ever heard that.
That's almost like, you ever heard of Cody Chestnut and the Headphone?
Oh, yeah.
That's like kind of like that kind of process, the Headphone Masterpiece.
I didn't even know how he made that.
Right.
That's how he did it?
It's called the Headphone Masterpiece. Like, he did it all, like, just with a simple recorder and, like, headphones. So, similar. Except yours is unreleased.
But if you give me $5 million.
Right. We might let that thing go. Right.
If you sign me, you get that as a bonus package.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, man, and that's, I prayed to God that I said, look, I want to be able to, I prayed to God. I said, look, I'm looking for a group of people that I could do music with, that we could do music together. We could all be individuals, but I want us to come together. And then God put together this thing called Brown Fish.
Yeah.
And that's really what we were. We all could perform on our own individually, but we had songs together. And it was just amazing to be in that experience. So music is, I don't know where I would be without music. I think this next venture in life that I'm entering, although I grew up in a political family, is very similar to that process.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That I love that you just said that, dude. So one of my favorite sort of brains, and he's a person, J. Joseph Taylor. He's someone that when I write something, I will send it to him, and not only will he be just dead ass honest about it, like, yo, that sucks, or that's really good, whatever. Like, he's just honest, and he always has really intelligent responses about music. Something he always says is that he always says that music is just like, number one, sports, but it's also just like politics, because you got to get out there and campaign your shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get on the road and shake hands and get people to know you. So the fact that you're saying that is, again, it's just like, these truths are just there. You know what I mean?
There's good music all over the place. You know what I mean? Like, the bar for good music, there's so many people that's above the bar. So then it becomes, how do you make a business out of this? Okay, and at this point, you got to share all kind of stuff about your life, because people don't really care about the music. Or we need to know why you wrote that song, which is why Lemonade and Jay's album was so big, because you know the backstory on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you get, or Bob Dylan's album when he got into a car accident, it was the first album he released without being on drugs. You know a backstory to the album, which is what really pushes the album. But yeah, you got to go out there and promote it. And I've never really been a great promoter of my music. That I've never.
I think that's not universal. I think that is the three of us in this room right now. If there's one thing that we all stink at, it's that. It's that.
Like, who do music in here?
I'm like surrounded by two people who I respect as much as anybody musically. Like, this dude, you have 15 albums in the tank? Is it 50? He has 15 albums. Like, he got unreleased ones too. All these unreleased niggas. Are you kidding me? I'm out. Get the fuck.
Call me Baby Prince.
Right. Oh, everybody's Wu-Tang. I haven't released it. Are you kidding? I'm just thinking about that now. That's funny. Yeah. And the other thing, this is off topic again, but both of you two niggas, like I told Jonathan walking in. Me and Jonathan, the two little skinny dudes, right? We walk in, right? I said, I reached out. I said to him first, because I know he's finicky about his food. I know you are too. Y'all both finicky as hell about your food. I said, I'm getting pizza. What do y'all want? And I know that it was going to be like, lo and behold, either just cheese and veggies. And me and Jonathan, those skinny asses, is like, yo, can you put bacon, fucking throw a goddamn whole cow, a pig, and anything else, a wolf on it?
Was this thing alive?
It wasn't alive. I don't want to eat it.
You said squirrel? Okay, yes. I'll try anything once.
So apparently I need to go vegan so I can have some unreleased shit.
That's the secret. Is that the secret?
That's the secret.
That's
funny, vegan, but oh man. So we're talking about, this is actually,
my cheeks hurt a little bit. Okay.
This is actually perfect. So, you're gonna whoever's seeing this is whoever sees this podcast. It's a Friday night. Is it Friday?
It's Friday.
It's a Friday night. So you'll probably see this like a week, maybe 2 weeks after it was recorded, and there's going to be some dope news drop from this man right here. Right. So tell us about what endeavor you're about to take on right now. And
hello, my name is Ian Jackson.
Perfect. Perfect.
like Bill Clinton hands, Obama voice now.
Exactly.
I am, I've been involved in the community wherever I've lived, and I went to graduated Coppin State with a social science degree, minor in political science, and my best friend Ooh, talking about him again, the whole idea was that he was going to end up running, and I would have been his campaign manager.
Mm.
And we knew that just through working, we had an idea of what our community was missing in certain things. He passed away. I moved to Delaware. Because we do what we do, we're right back in the community working. So I'm meeting all the people, all of the various people. Most of my musical friends are in the community as well. Then I started going to my civic association meetings and getting involved there. Then I became the vice president of my civic association, Browntown.
Which is another coincidence.
Yeah.
I got to stop using the word. Which is another. What is the word we should use for that?
Coinkydink.
Keep going. Keep going. Another flip. Whatever.
Like, he's going to come with something dope right here. Coinkydink.
Go ahead.
So just for me, the interesting thing about moving there is that my family is originally from a place in Jamaica called Brownstown.
Wow. And
so when I moved here, I kept calling it Brownstown, and people would be like, yo, you're not from here. And I had to tell them, like, okay, I got to forget where my family's from and drop the S.
Right. That's wild, dude.
So started getting involved, and, I started noticing current leadership just a lack of being able to move the ball on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first idea was I wanted to support the current leadership. And then I had a few conversations, a couple things we were supposed to work on, and it did not happen. I'm speaking cryptic because this is the first time I've ever ran for something, right? And my spirit is, I don't feel like it's necessary to talk. I can just say, I know that I could do a better job. And I know at some point I may get hit with the politics stick, and then I'm like saying, well, because she don't, and all of that type of stuff, but that's not where my spirit is right now. It's just that I believe I could do a better job. I think I know what is needed in certain critical parts of our community. I have the ability to develop relationships with people who are already doing those things. I have an ability to hear someone speak on a topic and have a different opinion and be open-minded enough to know that I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And oh snap, I thought I was right, but I'm actually wrong. And I need to be that open-minded because it's not about me being right. It's about us taking this opportunity to do the best for people. And so for you and I, it becomes real when we're visiting a little boy in the hospital with stitches, with staples on his stomach. You can play politics when it's not that real to you. You know what I mean? So I am running for 6th District City Council representative, and the primaries in September 15th. And I'm looking forward to really just going out there, really hearing what people want and what they need, although I, for the most part, know what it is. But I'm hoping that people look at me and hear me and say, hey, look, I believe that this guy right here has what it takes to cooperate and bring some things together, and he's humble enough to want to learn what he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you go and talk to my district, I think you will find that they believe that the current leadership lacks that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's jarring to them, especially in the era when we have a president like we have. And let me just say something. I'm not a Republican. right? Obviously. There are certain things that this president does that in his chaos, he executes like another person has never done. But there's way more things that does not fit our culture, and it disrupts our spirit, and it takes away from the harmony of us loving each other, right?
I am obviously excited about you taking on this challenge. My question is, and obviously I get the value of being politically involved in that way, but for sure, and I'm gonna try to keep it clean now because this is like, I'm gonna be appropriate here. But you're gonna have people who will say, the politicians aren't gonna change anything. It's gonna start, somewhere else, and it's all about the people, and so many people. And intelligent people that I have a certain respect for. We can agree and disagree, and I can still respect you. Will be like, voting doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter at all. I don't think that. But how did you come to the place where, I think this is the best way for me to make a difference? How did you reach that conclusion? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've worked on every level of it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I can tell you, community organizer, you have to get the money from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have to write the grant from something.
Mm-hmm.
You can't spend your own money.
Mm-hmm.
You will never have enough. And so what's missing, in my opinion, and I'm really talking to a lot of my friends who are community minded.
Oh, man.
We're like, we're not going to run for any political seats. That's not what we do. Listen, it's time for us, for that to be what we do. Because we've done the work. And I don't want to start calling out a whole bunch of friends, but Richard Raw, Chandra, I can name a whole bunch of different people just in Wilmington. I won't even go through my Baltimore list of friends. We know what it's like to be community organizers, to work on that ground floor. Mikey, and we know what that's like. What we have not done is be able to develop relationships with the people who control small amounts of money. We have not been able to articulate to them how they can be helpful in this process. So if there's a problem with the communication, it is now time for you to evolve beyond just being a community organizer and evolve to becoming an elected official. But here's the critical thing. There's so many things you don't know about being in politics. You have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to learn and grow. You cannot take what you do as a community activist and just go to being a politician. Mm-hmm. It's some of the skill sets are transferable, but not all of them. So because I've been on all the sides, my family's in politics in Jamaica. I've watched it from that aspect.
Right.
I know that at this point in my life, the next step for me to being of value to the people around me, the children we work with, the families we work with, is to actually run for an elected position. Mm-hmm. That is the next step. The only other thing around that is for me to hit on the lotto and then be able to just fund whatever I want to fund.
Right.
That's literally it. You either...
But a lot of what you're saying is honestly, and tell me if I'm wrong, I don't want to speak for you at all, but like a lot of it is a lot of what could be gained from a political, a formal political role is gaining access to income, right? I mean,
you're gaining access to, there's so, this 107th session of City Council session, there has been a lack of cooperation amongst the City Council, and there's definitely a lack of coordination with the current administration. It's like this. The administration wants things. Don't fight the administration on things that they could do on their own anyway. It doesn't make any sense. Right?
Right.
Figure out what is it that you want to do. Hey, we want the Youth Empowerment Center. We want this community center. We want to be able to bring in these extra things here. Hey, Mayor, we're willing to give you this if you give us this.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to cooperate at all. So you get nothing, and he still get his.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, yo, did you not know that was the rules, that he could still write an executive order and get it anyway? What was you arguing about that for if you knew negotiation-wise you weren't going to get anything? And so we're left not getting anything. And so, you know, it's about, once again, what I'm aware of and what I'm doing is I don't have any sides.
Mm.
You know, there are people who are whispering to me and saying to me, hey, we're excited about you running. My interest is I want to talk to all of the people who, I don't have a side. What my side is truth and logic and cooperation.
Yeah.
So once again, as we're moving forward in this process, I want to talk to all the city council people. The people who, this guy don't like this guy, you're going to see me meeting with both of y'all.
Yeah.
Because what I do know is that I need to learn. And I need to ask questions.
I think that's a really big, a really important thing. Because, I mean, again, I'm not going to start throwing names out there, but that's not even my role. But there are people who, and this is a factual, I mean, and you know it too, but literally people who have recently been elected to office who just don't have a clue about how government actually functions. Like, they don't have a clue. And, you know, my dad's a politician. Everybody knows J Street Senior. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a secret. And I've had a couple of conversations with my dad, and I was like, oh, I have no idea myself. And of course I have no idea because that's not what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, how would I know? Like, you can know the ins and outs and little bits, but like, you know, the way that he knows the process and the way to move and the rules of the game, you know, cats come in like, oh, it's not a popularity contest. And that's one of my concerns, and that's one of the things that I've seen in Wilmington. It's like, oh, we love him because he's been down since da-da-da-da, but he doesn't know. Doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know. Like, he has never read, you know.
I encourage everyone to go on to the Wilmington City Council website, pull up the sessions, and watch them for yourself. Because I thought I knew, Jay. I was like, yeah, I'm politically minded. I know this stuff. When I started watching these sessions, and I was like, oh, snap. This is wild. Why would she say that? Why would he say that? That doesn't even make any sense. But the idea of these people and their names and their position makes you think, oh yeah, you got voted city council. You got to know what you're talking about until you watch the sessions for yourself.
Listen, dude, the fact, like, and this is how, I'm going to actually, I think we should start to wrap it up here because this is perfect. Because it all pulls right back around. The fact, and you said this early on in the podcast, it was like the fact that there are so-called leaders working on the issue that is most important to me in the city, who couldn't name not their child who's involved with the situation, speaks to your point. Like, how are you going to play a role in stopping these kids from shooting each other if you can't even name not their kid who's shooting? Like, you don't have a clue. You know what I'm saying? You literally don't have a clue.
Don't know the dynamics behind it.
None of it.
You're trying to make up a plan that's supposed to be for 20 different kids, and these 20 different kids have 20 different situations. I just want to make sure that God, I know for a fact, is leading me through this process.
Word.
And I'm supposed to do this. And then once God leads you to that thing, it's your job to do your due diligence, your work, your homework, to make sure you don't squander the opportunity. Right? So, you know, I give thanks for friends like you, who I'm not going to be able to read everything. I'm not going to be able to know everything.
Right.
I know that I'm not approaching this experience by myself. I know that I have a group of friends that say, hey, bro, I saw the session.
I don't know what they talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. You know what I mean? I'm because it's gonna take that whole cooperation, that whole family network to come up with the best solution, specifically on certain topics. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, I'm excited. By the time this airs,
you'll be rolling.
It will be a public thing,
yeah.
And hopefully I won't morph too much into a politician, but I'm looking you right in the eye right now, letting you know.
See, and I'm
letting you know.
I'm gonna say this, and I mean this genuinely, dude, and I don't know if I've ever actually said this to you face to face, and it sucks that you have to have all these cameras on.
You love me, yo?
No, because
let me follow that James like listen.
No,
I felt like we could have been brothers, yo.
No, I will say this. Now you got me saying two things. I feel like if we were like if I went to Copland or if you went to Morehouse, that, you know, we would have become friends and hung out a whole lot more. Like, we should be hanging out more, but life is too complicated. You know what I'm saying?
We can work that.
I know, and we will, but like, it's like, yo, I always tell Lisa, like, yo, call Donnie, because what are they doing? Just come by. Like, you should be bringing CJ by. And that's a whole thing. The fact that child's name is Christian, but that's a whole thing.
Right.
But bottom line, and I mean this, everybody. Now I'm going to do the job, look directly into the camera thing. Like, you are literally. I love all of my friends for different reasons. Like, I have, my brother is my brother, like my blood brother. But you are literally, listen, I love you, Jason, but you are not one of the nicest people I've ever met. He's a savage like me, you know.
I'm still mad at the wedgie you gave me.
Yo, I'm still mad that you threw my CDs out in the middle of the street after I tossed you, son, even though I can't toss you now because you wrestled D1. But anyway, you are literally, there are 3 or 4 people that I can think of who I'm like, yo, he's just a good guy. I don't care, all the nonsense aside, it's like, he's just a nice guy. It's you, my best friend Mike, and randomly this dude named Rob Weiss, who I've started to kind of be friends with, like, you know, through Facebook and a couple of things, and actually Network Delaware. But you're a good man, and it's genuine, you know what I'm saying? So I am stoked that you're running for office, and I'm stoked that you're the opening for my podcast, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you asking me, man.
Yo.
Congratulations.
Job 2020.
Job 2020 it is.
That's all it is.
So like perfect vision.
Exactly. And that's a wrap.